My name is Ronald Wooding, Reverend Ronald Wooding. I'm the executive director for the Daddy Bruce Legacy Foundation. And of course, we are involved in keeping alive the history and the legacy of Daddy Bruce Randolph. Of course, for those who know him and those who don't know him, this is the 56th year from the time he decided he wanted to give out food from his restaurant to those who were in need at that time, or less fortunate. And he said he wanted to be like Jesus and feed 5,000. And it just kept growing and growing every year. And until before he passed, he was feeding well over 5,000 people, during the holiday season. But he did various things throughout the year. But he's well known, of course, in Denver for Thanksgiving. And of course, again, before he passed, they named the street after him, which is Bruce Randolph Avenue. And then, of course, a school, which is Bruce Randolph School. So for a person who came here at age 63 and decided, he wanted to open this restaurant. And for many years, he was putting on all the money in it himself until the Broncos and different other companies came aboard and started helping him carry that out. So that was a big thing, because he was a man with only a third grade education, but he had personality and he had the desire to do something, but he had the magnetism that drew other people to him, and they came in and they wanted to make sure that this came about. So we are carrying that. He passed in 1994 at the age of 94. And of course, we picked it up and started it 18 years ago. And of course, with the Epworth Foundation, this is our 18th year, as I said. And this year, we're feeding 10,000 people, 10,000 families, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's so many people out of work, so many people that are in need during this time, that we wanted to make sure that we could do all that we could do during this time. So this Saturday, November 21st, we will pass out boxes different from all the years before. Rather than having lines of people all around the blocks coming to get their food, we are having everything delivered, or they can pick it up themselves, but there's no contact. The drivers, if they're driving up, they'll put it in their cars and they'll drive away. Or if the drivers that are volunteering to take it to the homes, they will put it in the cars. People will take it there, put it on their porch, give them a call, and let them know that that basket, as we call it, is on their front porch. So that's what we do. And of course, we're thankful to have the volunteers and the donors that we have, because we have to use over, usually around 1,200 volunteers, to make this work. This year, we may have to, may have cut back because of the virus and the rules in the city. We can't have so many people there at a time. But I want to turn it over to our sponsor, one of our sponsors here, because they did a tremendous job in helping with the fundraising. And I'll let them talk about how they got involved, and then why we are here today to help make this continue in years to come.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Steve Swinney. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Kodiak Building Partners, based here in Colorado. Our headquarters here in Highlands Ranch, just south of the city. Next to me is Lenore Lucero, our marketing manager. And, Kodiak started 10 years ago in 2011. We're a building products distributor, and today we have operations in about 20 states around the country. We employ about 5,000 people. But like I said, Denver's our home, and we've looked for ways, not only here in Denver, but around the country, to give back in the communities that we serve. And last year, we had, about this time, we had the privilege of meeting Reverend Wooding and Bishop Demmer and learning more about Daddy Bruce and the Feed a Family event. And I think we got to know each other just before Thanksgiving and wanted to take the opportunity to step in and be involved as a corporation here locally and support what's going on in meeting needs in our community. And of course, as we got into 2020, we talked about how we could expand that role. And then, of course, with COVID, we all saw that there was going to be a much greater need. And so we took the opportunity to partner with these gentlemen and put together a fundraiser that went off just a couple of weeks ago that Lenore coordinated for us. And between Kodiak's leadership, as well as donors and sponsors of that program and fundraising through an auction, we are really excited to present to you this $50,000 check to support the program and the initiative that'll happen this weekend, meeting a lot of needs in our city. So thank you guys for all that you do. We appreciate having the opportunity to be a part of this and to support the great work that's going on.
Great. Well, we definitely, if everyone saw it, this is definitely a nice size check. So we will definitely put it to use, and goes, like say, it all goes toward the purchase of the food and everything for Thanksgiving. And then, of course, I think Lenora, because she was the catalyst as far as putting the fundraiser together and making sure that we had, people to support it. We were fortunate to get former Mayor Pena, who was alive. I mean, not alive, but still alive. And, but he was the mayor when the street was named after Daddy Bruce Randolph, and he came and gave a nice presentation. Of course, we've had some other people on there that were a part of it during that time, Tamara Banks and different ones that helped us in the fundraising side of it. And of course, I want to thank Pastor Demmer, because he's the one that introduced us and brought us all together last year. And I always say I was thankful because I was in the hospital and they all came down, and I wanted to bring my picture with my pajamas on as they gave me the check last year. And of course, I think it's going to be a great relationship that we all can, help people in the community. And that's what we need. And Daddy Bruce had a saying, he would always say, nothing beats love. And that was one of his main things I think we all can utilize in our lives, that nothing beats love. And if we do that, and we do it, all the time, not just at holiday time, but just throughout the year, whenever there's a need, we can't solve all problems, but the things that we can get involved in. So I'm thankful for this group, and again, Pastor Demmer for bringing us all together. And then, of course, I know we had some media questions, so I'm gonna turn it over to them right now and let them ask the questions they have. Brother Wilson.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything that you've done to continue Daddy Bruce's legacy. I was wondering, perhaps, what is maybe an unknown fact about Daddy Bruce that folks would be interested in, not only in the movie, but perhaps would be useful to these times that we're facing right now? Like, what's something that not everybody would know about him that's very, very important to who he is?
Well, like I said, I think it was just, he had a heart, for giving. And as they said that, when you would go to his restaurant, there would be, Mercedes out front, there would be millionaires in there eating, like Oprah Winfrey and all those when they were in the city, Sammy Davis Jr., everyone would be in his place. But if someone came in and who needed a meal, regardless, he would help. He would make sure they had a meal before they left there. They might have to sweep the floor, but they always, they always get a meal. And it was a gathering place because it wasn't just about eating, because Daddy Bruce knew so many people that when someone came to the city for the first time, if they needed a job, he could point to, the realtor and say, well, this is the person you talk with, or, you needed this or whatever. He had those connections and it just grew and grew. And of course, when he connected with the Broncos, one story I always tell people is that on every Wednesday, he would take barbecue out to the Broncos training camp and give it to the Broncos. And people said, why would they take his food like that? And I said, well, in the 60s, the Broncos didn't make the money they made today. So all of them,
Right.
they needed that barbecue. But they named him the 12th man. He had a jersey in his barbecue place, just a 12th man that they had given him. And he and Pat Boland, became real close and traveled with them to all the games and everything. So I just see that as, having a magnetism. We do it now, but none of us have that kind of magnetism. People just want to be around us. I mean, they do this, but it's not like, we want to be around this person all the time. They just, it's part of, what we do, but, he just had that magnetism that brought people to him.
Well, and I think what should be inspiring for us at Kodiak, as business leaders and all business leaders around Denver, is that he worked and thrived in his community. And then he wanted to be a part of his community, and he wanted to give back, and he wanted to make it a better place. And so, I think, like I said, with Kodiak, this being our home, I think that should be an inspiration to us, and that should be our goal as business leaders in the community. And hopefully, as each year goes by, we'll draw more and more businesses into supporting this, and be able to make these checks larger and larger every year.
Right. And because Pastor Dipper, you know him personally, so I would let you.
Oh, I don't think I can do nothing but echo your sentiments. Being down at the restaurant growing up, and of course in the hood, and being down at the restaurant, I just personally witnessed him feeding people that had no money. Go off into Daddy Bruce and say, I'm hungry and I don't have any money. There was no questions about it. There was second and third degrees about it. He was like, you're going to eat if you come into my restaurant. And I think that was just that's what made the biggest impression on me as a young man. Watch how this man, he didn't care nothing about, he wasn't trying to get rich. He wasn't about that. His whole duty was to serve humanity. And that's the power I know about Daddy Bruce.
That's a beautiful thing. I remember when I was a child, I just heard his name in passing, and I was a kid during the summer of violence in '93. Yeah. And I remember Daddy Bruce being one of the bright spots in that summer. So that's one thing that I do recall. And he passed away, like I said, when I was very, very young, but I do remember his name while he was alive. Yeah.
Where was the restaurant exactly? Where was it?
It was on the corner of, initially it was 34th and Gilpin, but then, of course they renamed the street, Bruce Randolph Avenue.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thanks.
And I'm curious, this year being with COVID and the pandemic is obviously changing the process for everybody. What's been the biggest challenge this year?
Well, we've never, everyone has worked apart. We haven't been like a team, same we use Epworth United Methodist Church because, with COVID, they were closed during that time, during the week. So as far as people coming to the building to sign up, we couldn't do that this year. The libraries were closed so that people that normally would go there and sign up for a box or sign someone else up, we couldn't do that. So it was just a different way of gathering the names of the people that actually needed baskets or needed boxes during this time. So that is what I can think of the word, but bringing that many names together, it was a lot of effort put in. And of course, this year we had we've been giving out about the same in Colorado Springs, 500 boxes. But this year in Boulder, we had a request for deliveries there. So as Pastor, before Senator-elect John Hickenlooper had left office, he had declared the entire month of November in honor of Daddy Bruce. We used to do it a day. We got the entire month to celebrate. But and the fact that during that month, he entire for the entire state, not just Denver alone. So as we expand out and go to other cities, making deliveries and things, so that's part of our mission now. Is not just here, but all over. And of course, tonight is November 19th, and of course, this is the viewing of the documentary on Rocky Mountain PBS, Channel 6 at 8 o'clock. And it's the history of Daddy Bruce, the legacy of Daddy Bruce. And we're excited about that because it gives not only people here, but through streaming all over the world can now know about Daddy Bruce, know things that he was involved in, and we hopefully they will see and say, I could do that. I could step out and do something, and other people, join me. Because like I said, Bruce didn't get out there because he wanted a street named after him. He did a school named after him. That's the person he was.
So for a while.
Right. So that was, and he used to say, he said, they asked him about speaking. He said, I'm not a speaker, I'm a cooker. So he had, several honorary degrees from CU and DU in different places, over that period of time. In the film, you'll see President Reagan, speaking. He sent him a letter back in time when he was in office, all the way through now to President Obama, that spoke about Bruce Randolph School in his 2011 State of the Union. So, I mean, those are things that, the fact that the President of the United States knows your name and everything. So that was, I thought, a big honor for anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, he didn't step out there to do that, but these things happen just because, he was the person he was.
You might have already said it, but how many boxes are you expecting to go out on Saturday?
The number is 10,000.
Okay.
Is the number that we have projected that put it like this, that we are paying for.
And each box will feed a family of 8.
Each box feeds a family of 8. So 10 times 8 would be approximately 80,000. Somewhere around that number, because every home doesn't have 8 people. But at the same time, if there's any left over, we have an agreement with the store that they can be stored, for the Christmas holidays coming up. They're still needed at that time as well.
And I would just like to add, I think it's amazing that Daddy Bruce he was feeding 5,000 people at his peak, and now we're going to be feeding over 60,000 people this year, up to 80,000, which I think is a huge testament to Reverend pushing this program and continuing feeding the families in need in Denver and surrounding communities.
Well, we're blessed. I count it as a blessing every day that I'm involved in it, and I think most of the people do. I mean, sometimes we have a lot of volunteers that they do it, once a year in this family event, and they enjoy it. But those of us who, work on it on a regular basis, then it becomes like part of our what I call it part of my ministry, that, I'm able to do this. And then as years have gone by, I came to Denver, only knew one person, and now I know thousands of people, they know me, but these, when I'm on the street or whatever, doing these newscasts, they see me and they say, "Oh, we saw you doing the Daddy Bruce, piece on the news last night, and we saw you, speaking somewhere." So that's, I guess, it's my blessing to be able to continue doing that.
It's great. Well, thank you and good luck on Saturday. That's going to be a big day. And thank you, Kodiak, for your support. And I wish I got to meet Daddy Bruce, but I'm happy to see the documentary.
You see the I was gonna say you'll feel like it when you see the documentary, and, to hear his voice. I mean, that was the first time I'd heard his voice. When I started doing the research, and I saw, oh, that's how he sound. And it was just wonderful to do that. And then, of course, most recently, I connected with his great granddaughter. She's an entertainer here in Denver, and she's been was away for many years, so she had lost contact with the family, and now she's reconnected, and we're looking at possibly doing a musical piece with her come this summer, and it's just so many things that will come out of it now because people have almost accepted it. Like when they say it's almost like he's still here, y'all talk about it now year round, and I said, well, that's just how I feel about it. It's a year round. We celebrate his birthday in February. Every year, if he was alive, he'd be 121 years old this year. And of course, his son is still alive, Bruce Jr., and he's 94. And of course, I just put in an order for his turkey to be cooked and everything. We always make sure, since he closed his restaurant, that he has a full cooked meal on Thanksgiving. So that's always a nice time to go visit with him and just sit down and hear some of the stories that he has, because he was the reason this Bruce came to Denver. And someone asked me for one quick story, Theo. Danny Bruce wanted to name his restaurant the Chicken Shack, and his son said no. He said, my name is Bruce, and they call you Daddy Bruce. So he said, go ask everyone. So he went around asking everyone. So they said no, Daddy Bruce. So that's where the name Daddy Bruce Barbecue came from. So I want to thank all of you that are representing the press, and hopefully you get the stories out, to other news media that had to drop off, or the ones that are not here. I wanted to thank the District 9 council person. She was on earlier, but she had to go to another meeting. Candice Iabaka. Their district raised $7,332 just from a GoFundMe account that she put up for this event as well, and they've done that the last 2 years. So that's one of the things I see in reaching out to allow other people to come to the table and be part of it, and that makes they take ownership in it and everything. So District 9 was definitely it's the district that the restaurant and where we do the event, but to have the council person to take a lead like that, we just want to thank them for that as well.
That's awesome. If somebody wanted to volunteer with Daddy Bruce, either on the actual day where you're going to give out the meals or just in general, where would they go, and how would they get started with that?
Well, the event is Saturday, so it'd be 3401 High Street, which is Epworth United Methodist Church. So on the corner of High and Bruce Randolph, and it's right there at the corner. So that's the place you would go to sign up, or you can go online today and to the epworthfoundation.org, and they have a volunteer page. And that's where you could just sign up, and say you want to drive, deliver some boxes on Saturday, and they have a different times you can sign up for there.
That is excellent. Thank you. That's all the questions I have for right now. Thank you so much for inviting me on here.
Well, thank you for participating.
Well, Reverend Winning, thank you for leading this whole initiative, and for what you do for the community, and for letting us all be a part of it and support you in it.
Well, we look forward to working together many more years. Thank you.
All right.